Now, you all remember Sheldon Adelson, right? He's the head of the Las Vegas Sands Company. It's kind of a misnomer because Las Vegas is actually only 10% of his holdings now. Macau has 90% of his holdings. That's where the Sands makes most of its money. And he's made over $20 billion, one of the richest guys in the world. And he gave a stunning amount in this election cycle. We thought that it might be up to $100 million. Turns out no. We just found out from two Republican insiders in groups that received the money that the actual amount was $150 million. That was not reported before. It is being broken by Huffington Post, that story, which is also interesting in terms of how Huffington Post got that story and why they got that story. But first, let's talk about why Sheldon Adelson wanted to spend all that money in the first place. Now, he actually told Politico in the middle of the election cycle, he said, look, ardent supporter of the right-wing Israeli government. He's a hawk in that regard. He's against unions because, God forbid, he should pay his workers just a couple of cents more when he's got over $20 billion. But he said his number one reason was that he was worried about how he would be vilified through legal proceedings. Now, legal proceedings that began before he did any of these contributions. And what are those? Well, one of them is that he might be brought up on charges of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act for bribing Chinese officials. Now, if proven, that would be totally and utterly illegal and endanger 90% of his earnings that come from Macau, which is, of course, an island off of China. So that may be a little relevant, but in fact, listen to what he said to Politico, quote, "A second Obama term would bring government vilification of people that were against him. He thinks he would be at the top of that list and contends that he already has been targeted for his political activity." Now, think about how smart that is. Because if you give a $150 million gift, in what is, of course, in our system, legalized bribery, to the Republicans, and they win, if Mitt Romney had won and they had won some of those Senate races, et cetera, and control the Senate, do you think that they're going to bring up charges against the man who assured them that victory by giving him $150 million, their largest donor? Well, of course they're not going to do that. If you think they were going to do that, you don't live in this country. You don't understand how our political system works at all. When a politician gets bribed like this, he stays bribed. It works incredibly effectively. We've shown you that over and over. No, so that's obvious. But if Democrats win, he's already set up the excuse. Oh, since I contributed to Republicans, they've made an enemies list and they're coming after me, not because I broke the law, but because of political reasons. And I can guarantee you that his Republican friends on Capitol Hill, if he is charged, will absolutely say, oh, Obama has an enemies list just like Nixon. That's why they're going after Sheldon Adelson. In fact, in order to bring that point home, the Huffington Post also says, quote, "While in Washington, D.C., he's arranged Hill meetings with at least one House GOP leader in which he is expected to discuss key issues, including possible changes to the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act." Oh, really? The anti-bribery law that undergirds one federal probe into his casino network, according to a Republican attorney with knowledge of his plans. So he's going up to Capitol Hill to say, hey, you know what? Remember that $150 million I gave you? And if you're good boys and girls and you protect me politically, if I am charged with this, and apparently he thinks there's a good chance he's going to be, well, then there's another $150 million in your future. Now, by the way, why would Republicans in organizations that Sheldon Adelson gave to leak this to the Huffington Post? That's very interesting, right? Because Huffington Post, a lot of these conservatives charge is progressive, leans left, or whatever it might be. Why would they leak it in the first place? Why would they want to anger their largest donor? Because they're not angering him. He wants them to leak it. Why does he want them to leak it? Because he's trying to send a message. In fact, I'm not sure I even believe that it's $150 million. It might have been less. Now, most people look at it and go, oh, well, that seems damaging to him. He spent $150 million and didn't get what he bargained for. Well, the reality is he might get exactly what he bargained for when he has an army of Republicans defending him against these charges if they ever come up. And that is exactly what he'll get and exactly the message he wants to send to all of Washington. Remember where your bread is buttered. I'm the guy with the money, and I gave it to you last time, and I can give it to you again next time. See, that's how legalized bribery works in the United States of America. Now, whether it's going to be successful and prevent those charges, we're going to see. But how many times have you seen President Obama say, we're not looking backwards, we're looking forwards, when it was politically convenient for him? I hope he doesn't do that in this case. And either way, I hope that they actually do the charges or don't do the charges based on the merits and not based on nonsense politics.